Hello, thank you for joining us. We're here with New Life, the series of programs with Rav Leitman. We're in two different studios because of the Corona. Hello, Rav Leitman. This is program number 1220. We're happy to talk about the period of Corona in Pesach. Join us, it'll be fascinating, I'm sure. Rav Leitman, look, usually Pesach, when you get close to it, especially the Seder evening, there's a feeling of festiveness all over the country, with all people, with all the families. Doesn't matter who you are and what you are. It's like in the air, there's this cloud of holiday. And if I'm looking at the cloud that's coming close right now, the cloud is the cloud of isolation, of loneliness, of sadness, of this closeness within our homes. How do people say it's not the evening of Seder, it's the evening of isolation? What's this matter of loneliness that's come to us? You know, a holiday, the Passover is maybe the happiest holidays. Everyone gathers together, the whole big, broad family, and all of a sudden, loneliness. How did we find ourselves in such a state of loneliness in Pesach? Rav Leitman, we built it this way. We made it. We simply did this. What is being revealed is a certain reason. It's a disclosure, a revelation that shows us how separated we are, how we're not one nation, to the extent in which we're not sitting together at one table and don't want to exit Egypt, the current Egypt, and so on and so forth. Meaning, this is the disclosure of truth. What do you mean? If you do a survey in Israel, I'm sure that most of the people would be very happy to have their Pesach Seder together with their family and not be stuck at home, isolated between the four walls that they're not allowed to leave and connect through Zoom to do a Seder Eve with their family. So what does it mean? We don't want that. So why is it happening? You've built this state and now it's being revealed as truth. Who built it? I don't understand. You did. Who's you? The people of Israel. Ask me, as a person from the people of Israel, do I want to be in the Seder with all the people? No, it's not the eve of Seder. I'm sorry, Mr. Levy. It's not the eve of the Seder. It's the whole structure of our nation that is not connected, that doesn't come out of Egypt. It has nothing, he has to think why it's in such a state. We exited Egypt from our egoistic desire. We became one nation. Today you became a nation. Where do you see this? The fact that you will sit now with your grandmother in place of sitting alone? You think that is the difference between true Pesach and what you're having now? Today you have a more true Passover because it's showing you the extent in which you are not together with your family, with all your nation. Let's see if I can grasp what you're saying. You're saying deep things. I'm not sure I understood everything. You're saying the thing is not the Seder Eve at all. It's how we are all year long. You're saying this about your grandmother and grandfather, but about the whole society. You're saying all year long we're not behaving correctly, like we're a nice, connected nation. So now, even in the eve of the Seder, we received like a mirror that shows us that you're going to sit at home. That's what you're saying? Yes, because we came to a state in which we're not wanting to sit with our grandparents and to celebrate some holiday that happened, 3,500 years ago. That we went through some period of the exodus from Egypt. Yes? It's 1,000 years before the Common Era. That's enough. What do you mean enough? What should we celebrate this year? No, the time has come for us to understand that we're not in the exodus from Egypt. The exodus from Egypt is the exit from our ego. It's a state in which we become united as one nation, as one man in one heart, who receive the Torah, the force which unites us, the force that is revealed between us and binds us together as a nation. the nation of Israel, a unique nation. There is no such thing. So a special sign comes our way. We call it the coronavirus. And it explains to us where we are. Because we're not one nation, and we have not exited Egypt. We're living in this big, increased ego, even greater than all of humanity and all the people in the world. And in this, we are even more successful than the whole world in using our egos. And that as far as Israel, we're not Yashar Kel, we are not drawn to the force of bestowal and mutual love and connection between us. This is why it's best that you sit alone without your grandma and think, why am I alone? Why is there this closure on me? Why am I alone in such an isolated fashion? To understand who I am, what I am. Look, why I'm alone, why there's closure on me? Because there's corona, and it's dangerous to go out of my home. What does this want to imply to you, this corona? This virus came to explain to you who you are. Somewhat. It's not disclosing the whole picture to you, for then you would completely feel yourself as buried in the depths of the land. Somewhat it's explained to you that, Oren, you do not suit that which is in Pesach. That what it has to do with being in the Exodus from Egypt. You have no memory of that. You have no connection to it. And that's why you're sitting at home with your apartment, with all your relatives, like prior to the exit from Egypt, and you should think, what needs to be done to exit? Since you are in the eve of the exit from Egypt, but not yet in the exit. You made an amazing parallel that till now I'm thinking about. You said to me, the state that we have in the Israeli society is that there's such a great ego that this year stands out, that it truly, completely numbed the country, meaning that we discovered this Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the ego. We raised him to the heights that there's nothing more than that. Only that we bow to. And that's our problem, meaning the fact that we are now in the eve of Pesach, are without our family, alone, each in his four walls. This points to a general societal problem, not specifically in my family, but between people in this country. It's a hint to the fact that you're alone. You don't have a family. The family is the big ones with all the relatives and all that. You don't have a family. You don't have friends, no relatives at all, no nation, which maybe there is or not. You are alone. Your ego left you that way, alone, in the desert. Now my next question is as such. Whether this motive, in which specifically on the eve of Pesach, where we're trying to be isolated, is it parallel to the symbol of the Passover holiday? And if so, what is it? That we want to exit from being alone to being connected to one another as one man in one heart. We want to reach the desert of Sinai so that the hatred will be revealed between us. Let it be revealed and be clearer to us. This year, a lot of hatred was revealed in Israel. Endless hatred. That's nothing. Oh, you're saying we're expecting even more hatred? Certainly. I thought Corona would calm us down. No. Corona did not come to calm us down. No, I mean the hatred. I thought it would lower the volume. Why? We won't want to run away if it lowers it. God forbid. If it's for correction, then we need to feel the hatred between us much greater, much realer, more truthfully, to a point where we hate each other to the extent that there's no greater hate in reality, just to make sure that I'm getting what you're saying. You're not talking about hatred in the family, you're talking about hatred amongst the people, within the nation, and even in the family also. Well, that's in difficult states, but sometimes I see this within the nation, that people truly hate each other. Yes, we're not a nation. Well, next question. We sing, how is this evening different from all the nights? I want to change the question a little bit. Not how is this eve changed from all the evenings, but what is this Pesach changed from all the previous holiday eves, changed from all that? I know how to answer. Each of us is sitting alone in his home. How would you answer this to me? This eve of Pesach changes for us is in the fact that today we recognize why we are alone on the eve of the Seder. And is it truly the eve of the Seder? Are we truly ready for the exodus from Egypt? Why are we alone, Rav Leitman? We are not yet capable of running away from Egypt. What is Egypt? Is it a symbol for something? That's our ego. Our mutual hatred, our mutual repulsion, the competition towards one another. That's our ego. Therefore, this is how we need to see ourselves. It's simply, we have no choice. We must open it and see these things in a true manner. And this is the essence of the Leil of the Seder, Laila, evening, night. But it comes in an orderly way that it prepares us for exiting our ego to the land of Israel, to direct to the Creator, Yashar Kel. What is Yashar Kel? Meaning Israel. It means direct to God. Direct to who? To the upper force, to bestowal towards love. The Creator is the force of love. I remember in the story of Egypt, Moses, the one who used to stutter, he said to Pharaoh, let my people go, because he wants him to work in the desert. He says, let my people go, let my people go. God wants us to work him in the desert. Now, when you tell me here that the Creator is the force of love, and you told me that Pharaoh, if I understood this symbol correctly, is the force of the ego and hatred that really this year paralyzed our country. We didn't have such paralysis since I remember the state of Israel. Everything is paralyzed because everyone is in such big ego they can't look at each other in their eyes. Now, the exit. Let's talk about the exit first of all. You said the order of exiting. Where do we need to exit? How is it even possible? But you just said yourself that people cannot exit because they're looking egotistically at each other. How did you just say it now? Look, there are 3 campaigns of elections in 1 year. We have never seen anything like that. Leave me with the politics. I'm talking about the relationship between people. What are you putting that in? Politics brings a lot of hatred amongst people. Wait, I don't want to talk in that direction. Those are states that are so derogatory that I don't even want to look at them as existent. So from that state, Corona comes, yes? Into that state, into this mess that was here in the country last year, Corona fell upon us like a freezer. And no one, sit at home, no one's leaving. Let's say it's also a result of all the world system. Okay, now the exit, the evening of the Seder. The Seder is called the order that we're arranging things. Where are you exiting to? That's what I'm asking you. Where do we need to exit to? So what are you asking me about the exit if you don't know what you're exiting for? It's not that you're buying a ticket to overseas and you fly. There's no place, Rav. You're talking about prehistoric. You can't leave your home. How could you fly overseas? You can't leave your room. So where do we need to exit in this symbolic way that you're describing in our perception, in our relations? To love between us. That's called the Exodus of Egypt, where if we are in Egypt, it's considered under the control of Pharaoh, under the control of our ego, our general force of ego that rules us and places each and every one before others, against others. We want to leave that state of hatred, that unfounded hatred, and to begin to turn to each other with our faces, with our open hearts, and for it to be revealed as general love, which is called an exit from Egypt to the land of Israel, which is directed, Yashar Kel, direct to the force of love, which is God. I have a question. Other than having the evening of the Seder, Leila Seder, Pesach is also called the holiday of freedom. Freedom from the angel of death, our ego. That's my question. This year, when we celebrate Passover with the shadow of the Corona, the state of Corona, what is for you freedom? For many people, freedom is that we will at last be able to leave our homes. Also, many people are hoping that when the holiday is over, they will be able to go out a little bit, to go to the next stage in the process and leave their homes a little bit. How do you look at this concept of freedom where every person is stuck at home and is not allowed to leave? Well, freedom, like you once said, where I go to a restaurant, a nice restaurant, go for a stroll on the beach, in the park, that's freedom, a free nation. Right, that's my question. Because the people are not free at all. There's no freedom whatsoever. The coronavirus shows us how not free we are, how we are included inside our ego. We're bound inside of it, and it's telling us, this virus, sit at home, be under closure, just like you're bound under your ego. Now you're bound under this corporeal life of yours. Explain that a little bit more, that last sentence. This virus is showing us a real picture. A picture of what? Of the extent in which we are surrendered under our ego, under Pharaoh. The extent in which we are under the control of our ego. What does that mean that we're surrendering? What does that mean? What are we surrendered to? That whatever our ego wants and demands, we do it. We do it without even asking. We're not even aware that this ego is compelling us. In the story of Egypt, they talk a lot about slaving, being slaves. What is this servitude? Where are we slaves to? What is this slavery? Slavery, I'll tell you. Let's say I'm the prime minister or the head of the health department, the minister of health. And I want tomorrow the country, the nation, to be completely closed up, in closure. No one leaves their doors. And I want it to be like this, without the police, without any excuses, because also the police has to go out. They have to all sit. Everyone needs to sit at their homes. How long? For 2 weeks. Let's say 2 weeks. What does it mean that I rule, that I control, that I say it and don't even say? I send them immediately the knowledge to their brain, and they do it. And if you ask them, why did you do this? So either we received it as a notice on our mail or on the phone or something, on the TV, or they could say that they have it directly to their mind. We wanted to do so. We understood that this is what we need to do. So what does it mean to be a ruler? I want to rule their desires and their thoughts. That's considered that I'm a ruler. That's our ego, which is ruling over us. Wait, I didn't understand. The health department is the ego. It wants to our benefit. It doesn't matter. What's important is how the message passes. So the message of the Corona needs to pass to us in a simple way. You are sitting today at home because this is the true state of yours. This is how you are under the control of your ego. So the slavery is towards who? Who are we slaves to in your perception? To our ego. Oh, I understood the example now. So the example you gave me with the minister of health who said sit at home so that no one will infect anyone. If so, if we would observe that command that way, which we don't, but if we would to observe it that way, like we do to the commands of our ego, then maybe we could heal. You're saying that was an example for control of a command. So this is how our ego is giving us constantly commands and demanding things of us. Yes. So define to me this concept of ego. He's this main star in the story. You called him Pharaoh. Describe him exactly. Who is this ego and what commands is he giving me every day? Desire. A desire for what? What desire? a desire to fill myself. You mean to do whatever I feel like? What do you mean? Let's say whatever I feel like. And what's the problem with that? That I'm doing it without any connection to others. And I am with all the people in the world, also with the still and the vegetative and the animal and all the people of the world. I am in one system with them, an integral system. And if I do something only considering what I feel like, it's called that I am doing it egotistically. I'm a servant of Pharaoh. If I do actions that I connect to all, the main thing in fact is people, because less than them it will work out on its own, on the degrees of still, vegetative, and animal. But if I take into consideration all the people in the world, then it's considered that I'm working in the right way towards nature, towards godliness. And then it all comes out in an excellent way. I will never come to some harm. I want to ask about Elijah, the prophet. On the Seder, we always say, here's a cup for Elijah, the prophet. Now, my son told me a joke, and today he say, look, the Seder is coming close. Elijah, the prophet, he's an old guy. He's in a high risk. Let's protect him, not invite him to the Seder so we don't infect him. Now, beyond the joke, I wanted to ask you, what's this story? Will Elijah come this year? Will he not come this year? Who is Elijah? We're waiting for him for so many years. What's his story with Elijah the prophet? And how will he work out the whole isolation? Elijah announces to us that the Messiah is coming. The Messiah is the force which draws us from our entire ego. That's called that he is drawing us from all the problems and leads us to the degree of bestowal and love, the general love, which is the Creator. It truly brings us to a desire where we are all connected together with the upper force of nature. That is the message that Elijah brings us. Meaning we're not waiting for a person, we're waiting for a force that brings us. It was never a person anywhere. So we're waiting for a force that will bring love with him? Yes. No more than that. Altogether, love is what we need. Love meaning that I relate to the other like I do to myself, and even more than I do to myself. Now tell me, why do we wait every year for Elijah and he doesn't come? This year, how can we cause him to come? We never waited for the true Elijah. Do I miss loving someone? What are you talking about? I'm not waiting for Elijah. I'm waiting for Elijah to bring me a bag with gold coins, a new car, a new apartment, a private jet, each according to what he wants. That to me is considered the revelation of Elijah and kind of profit, reward. Let him at least pay my debts. No, you're small. Let's do it this way. I'll receive Elijah and I'll pay your debts. Don't bother. Meaning you're saying we didn't wait for the correct Elijah. What Elijah do we need to invite this year? Elijah of Corona. Who is Elijah of the Corona? Elijah the prophet of Corona. This is the upper force that brings us connection until love. As we, inside of this, will truly feel how we're not one nation, but rather one body, one desire, and the Creator is within us. Israel, the light, and the Creator are one. Who's the Creator? You meaning the Creator of the world? Yes? What does it mean the Creator of the world will be inside of us? The Creator of the world is the force of bestowal and love. It's a force. It's not, God forbid, some corporeal body. So where is He going to be that He's inside us? What does it mean? He will dwell in us. He will dwell between us? Yes. The force of love. Yes, that's what we await. That is considered the revelation of Elijah, that's called salvation, that's called the Exodus from Egypt. That is the true end of correction. I have a question. At the beginning of our conversation, when I said that the eve of the Seder is different this night from all the other evenings of the Seder by a person not allowed to leave his four walls or his family, you said that there's something that we need to learn which is much broader than the boundaries of the family. That the fact that all year long, within the nation, within all the country, we weren't in good relations with each other. Now we're receiving like a mirror picture that we're each sitting at home, and even with my family, with my dear ones, I can't be connected. Do we need to understand that when that force of Elijah comes, that force of love and the Creator dwelling between us, we will feel this whole nation as one family? One big family? Yes, we won't need to leave the apartment. It's not just the moment Elijah is revealed, the force of connection, it's beyond boundaries, beyond walls, beyond everything. You will suddenly feel the whole world transparent, that everything passes in without bounds, through rooms and buildings and the whole parts of the universe. You will feel it all as one. Connected to everyone, everyone are in you, as the world is a small person. And that is how you will feel all of reality and the Creator within it. So the evening of the Seder this year, in the period of Corona, what kind of Seder orders it's supposed to come and make in my mind and heart? That you need to concentrate on the force of love that will dwell, that will clothe you from Elijah, and you, by that, will feel that you're connected with the whole world. Everyone is embracing you, and this causes you the true exodus from Egypt. Amen and amen. Rav Leitman, thank you very, very much. Thank you, too, for being with us. Let me a happy holiday. Thank you, and all the best. Happy holiday.